Well, I grew up very poor, and our water that we had in our house, it wasn't in the house. It was a pump outside, maybe 50 feet away from the house. In the wintertime, we had to let the prime out of it so it wouldn't freeze. And the water in the house that we had in the bucket, at night it gets so cold it'd freeze solid. We all slept on a feather bed, sometimes about 6 quilts over us, and couldn't keep heat all night long just during the day. And at night, the heat would only till the fire went out. And when I went in service, the first electric lights I slept under when I went in service. Actually, the first showers were actually under a shower where water come out. The first time I took a shower was when I was in service. Other than that, I had to take a bath in a number 3 wash tub. They had to heat the water and pour in the wash tub.
So when you would take a bath, it was probably few and far between because
you
had to boil so much water.
Oh yeah, and later in life, I went to getting the tubs was like oblong. That was really nice. That's almost like a bathtub, but we never did get one. And the dishwater, I know she wash the dishes and have to dry them right away. Water you heat wash the dishes with is in a kettle, like a cook stove. You had what's called wood that goes in the cook stove would be like stove wood, and the heater was called heating wood.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
It had 2 different names, yeah.
The way that it was chopped, or just the type of wood?
No, well, the way it's chopped to go in the heating stove was with big sticks. You usually had to split it and let it dry out to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm. So a fireplace?
Well, no, we didn't have no fireplace. Had what's called a king heater. And guess what we give for a king heater? $3. It lasts the winter.
Wow.
And the stove pipe goes straight up through the room, and I've seen it this red hot.
What was your house like?
Well, I lived in a log house. We built my grandpa and my 2 uncles, and different ones helped. But I remember we moved there, I think I was like 10 years old. I remember a big log that was in the ground, and they dug dirt out from around it and cut it off in lengths, so long to split the board that went on the house. Also, the logs like this that we put like gumbo mud in there, and then put the boards on the outside to keep the gumbo mud from falling out. Mm-hmm.
Did you have was it a dirt floor cabin? Or
no, it had sawed lumber. That's the only thing about it, just the sawed lumber. And then the holes that cut out for the windows, I think you had 1, 2. I think we had 4 windows in the house, if I remember right. There's half windows. My grandpa fixed the window to slide back and forth that way. And picking cotton, I got, when I was growing up, it was like 75 cents a hundred. And
per bushel or per 100 pieces of cotton?
100 pound of cotton.
That what you did for a job was picking cotton for your
your
family?
Mm-hmm. We had to depend on that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I started making a hand in the field when I was 11 years old.
You became a field hand?
Well, yeah, hoeing cotton. And you know what? The one that's paid 75 cents a day, and not only $1 a day, they only give me 75 cents because they said you're not old enough to be where you're supposed to make a hand. And I said, well, I don't want to stay behind. I can stay up with other people, but I still just got 75 cents. And picking cotton was $75 cents a hundred.
So 100 pieces of cotton, or whatever they were called, that would be a bushel of cotton.
No, God, no, it had to weigh. I carried sacks I had to pull a 9-foot sack. My uncle will give it the name of white trailer. Anyway, you carry 60, 70 pounds of cotton on your shoulder. I probably reading the shoulder's messed up now. It's on my left shoulder. 50 or 60 pounds before you might carry it half as far from here down to the street before you got to the wagon to weigh it. That far away.
What was you didn't have an ice box, so you didn't have any way to keep food cold?
Oh, we had what's called a milk trough. Anybody that come along and pump water, that was putting fresh water in the tank, that's where our milk was. And we had a hole, take a bracing bit, it had bracing bits in it, bore a hole in the end of the trough. If it got up so high, the water would go out. That way the milk wouldn't, the milk wouldn't float in the bucket. All the buckets was 10 buckets. Mm-hmm.
That's how you keep it somewhat cold?
Well, you just keep it cool.
Keep it cool, yeah.
It's cool.
So what did you...
I remember the first bicycle I bought, I ordered it from Sears. It had a kick-up stand, luggage rack, and light on the fender. I gave $26 for it. And the payments was like $4 a month. And when I ordered it, it was in cotton chopping time. And I made 2 payments, so it'd carry me over till picking. Well, cotton chopping time was in like in May, along in there. Then well, maybe it went as far as July. I'm not real sure. And started picking cotton like in September. Well, I had like one time I made 2 payments to carry me over. So cotton picking time. Never even owned the ice box. They put ice in. The summertime was chopping cotton, picking cotton. This guy the ice man come around like from either Monet or Lake City which one way was 5 miles to one town and 6 to another. And I used to say the best way to get there was to walk. And anyway, we had to take like 20 pounds of ice. I think 20 pounds of ice cost you 20 cents. They put it on the front porch and covered it up with an old quilt that we had that was wore out. It didn't have no ice box put it in. And we'd come in the field, we used to take off an hour, go get lunch, we'd go over to the garden and get lettuce, onions, and carrots. And my mother, I remember she was fixing lettuce for us. She'd take meat grease and heat it and pour it on that lettuce, and oh, was that ever good.
What was, might be a silly question, but what were meals like? Like, did you,
well,
if you didn't have any way to keep food cold?
Well, I had to eat it all that day.
Yeah.
And I know my mother was early to rise all the time. And she always cooked breakfast for us. We usually had one of the main things was rice and oats. And she liked to made gravy a lot. We always had, most of the time we had eggs. Mm-hmm.
Did you have chickens?
Yeah, oh yeah. Mm-hmm. But chickens, where they roost at in the houses is real open. And in the wintertime, there's very little land they did because it's too cold for them.
So you'd have rice and oats and eggs breakfast time, and then you'd go out and you'd work, and then what was your typical lunch? You said your mom would make a salad with the...
Well, yeah. Well, I know, especially in the summertime, I know we drink iced tea out of a quart jar, a regular quart jar you can stuff in. And I know we had the salad. Let's see, and more than likely she might have had beans that she had cooked ahead of time, and also potatoes, something like that she cooked ahead of time. My mom always come to the field as soon as she could, if it was chopping cotton or picking cotton. And,
lots of vegetables, root vegetables, not a lot of meat.
No, our uncle had meat pretty well all the time. Sometimes we got meat from them, but very few times we had a hog, because a lot of times the hog would be like a runt. The old sow didn't want, and people would say, well, you can have this runt. We'd raise it up and make a fattening hog out of it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 3 milk cows most of the time, and there's one of them giving milk most all the time. You had 3. Well, one of them, you had one that was giving milk. There was out of milk, and they just strained the milk through a white cloth, like I know, like fertilizer sacks. I know what I'm talking about, like sacks of fertilizer. They'd like a wash kettle. They put them in there and boil the water. You get all the print out of it. They couldn't. And you strain the milk. Just strain the milk that way. And then there's something else in them. But we was very lucky having them cows, because I remember a lot of kids, when their mother would make gravy in the morning, it had to be water gravy. My mother always had milk. I've ate water gravy. Well, like people I went to Saddle Night with, kids. Because used to, kids would go home with kids from school. Yeah, I had a rough time. But it was happy if I had $1 million.
Did you know that you were